Welcome back to the Hobby Chop Podcast, the podcast for the people. I am Big Ken. He is Zip. Zip, how you doing, my friend?
I am doing well. I'm doing well, and I'm excited to talk about our topic of grading, a little deep dive on it. And sorry we're not live.
Yeah, that's all on me. My apologies. Um, right after we got off and we closed that last episode, I realized that I had tickets to a show Tuesday night, so we're going to drop this. This is going to be dropping Wednesday, right? And then the following 2 weeks, I'm going to be traveling, and we're just going to figure that out. We're going to figure out the episodes, where I am, when I can record, when I have solid internet, that type of thing. So I'll be on the road for 2 weeks, but we're going to make it work.
Yeah, we're going to try to get some cool guests in on the next 2 weeks, and hopefully provide something a little different. And then everyone will be chomping at the bit for the live when we get back, So it's fine. It's fine. We planned it this way.
Yeah. We want to just give a little taste.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Keep them coming back for more.
Absolutely.
So we're going to talk about grading today, and one of the things, like, we talk a lot about grading on here, but I think we're giving little bits of this and little bits of that and little bits of this. And so, I mean, you and I were talking and we're thinking to ourselves, we should just give the whole, try to do a deep dive, one episode, just give all of it, like from beginning to end, and not throw little bits out. So some of it may sound familiar, but some of it is probably not going to be familiar. Just our thought process and what we do, because you and I, we both do a ton of grading, but we're even and it's like being in the hobby, right? Everybody's in the hobby and everybody does something different. You and I do a ton of grading, but our hobby lanes are completely different.
And when you just said that, I think I might have found the title of the episode for this. It's the effing Catalina wine mixer of grading. That's what this episode is. We're going fully into it.
What was that? The Catalina wine mixer?
Step Brothers.
Oh.
Yeah. That's it's the big shebang. It's the big kahuna. It's the Catalina wine mixer.
The big kahuna.
Yeah. So, where do we want to start with that? What's the first bit we want to talk about for grading? Because there's a bunch of parts to it.
Yeah, I mean, the very first part of grading is, right, determining what cards to grade.
Sure.
And as we say this, that sounds like so easy. Like, yeah, just no way. You take this card, you buy it for $2, you grade it, and you can sell it for 90, right? I mean, it sounds simple. I wish it were that simple all the time. But I think really what it turns into, there's a lot of guesswork involved, right, at the very beginning, especially when cards first come out. You want to be first to market. So, and I say this because if you say, oh, look, that Caitlin Clark, even a base card Prism, even a PSA 9, right, is selling for $110, or selling, I think at one time it was selling for almost 200, right, like 190 or 185, right? At that point, when you see that, it's almost a little late to say, oh, I'm going to grade those cards, right? Because now you got to get the cards. You've determined these are cards to grade. You want to send them in, and now you're going to wait 3 or 4 months for them to come back, right? Because you're not going to, send those off for a fast return. So you're hoping for 10, you make it a 9, but by the time those cards come back, they may be selling at $75 or $100, which is good, but there may be other cards that may be selling at $20 or $15.
The best way I can verbalize that is, if you're sending off brand new product, the best time to send off that brand new product is when there are not PSA sales of it yet. Yeah. Like, because that means you're on the beginning of that wave to grade. If you send out cards and you have expectations of really high sales from some of the first or few sales you see on eBay, most of the time, I don't want to put a percentage, but most of the time you should temper your expectations for that high sale. Sometimes it will sustain, and on rare occasions it will go up, right? Like on rare occasions, like that's not true. But for new product, if you're going to grade, like brand new product, you gotta try to be first to market if you can, or keeping that in mind. I think something I try to focus on is the price that I acquire them at, so that I know if it gems for the most part, I'm going to be fine. Not necessarily like getting, for me, it was getting out of that mindset that say, like you're talking about, say, I need that $200, right? For the Caitlin Clark. Well, what are you acquiring them at? Do you really need to get $200 for that? If you're acquiring them below $30 each, you really don't need that much. But like that's me though. That's how I look at it, and I try to look at it as.
We're talking about a player, be it Caitlin Clark, being like the height of a market, right? If we go now and we talk about like a Bo Nix or a Michael Penix Jr., Caleb Williams. If we brought it to football, right? Jaden Daniels, like those Don Russ cards that first came out, those paper cards, get a 10. I know that Jaden Daniels was selling at $250, $300, right?
Yeah. And then they came down.
Yeah. Why did they come down? Because everybody sent them in for grading, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you were first to market and you got the card out there, you did well. But if you weren't, and I talked about this on my last episode, right? I mean, some of those cards they're not even the price it cost of grading, and they're 10s.
Right.
Right. So that's what I guess you have to say. I mean, you have to put the guesswork involved, and you have to be able to know. You have to be able to know when to say no. Right. You have to be able to know, and that comes with experience too, to say, yeah, I see that card selling at $90 now, but chances are by the time I take this card, send it in, if it does gem, because there's no guarantee it's going to gem, and it comes back, that card may be $30. It could be 50, or it could be 20. Like you have to, be able to say, I'm okay with if it comes back at 10 and I'm not going to make zero money on it.
Right. And also, when you're selecting these cards to send to grading, you have to think, or you have to forecast a little bit, I think, of like, what is that player's market going to look like in 2 months? Yeah. And I can provide an example of some cards that when we did, what was the date exactly or roughly like the month when we did the EC3 Con show and hosted the trade night?
That was June.
Okay.
Yeah.
For that show, I went out and I talked a bit about it a little bit when on like in one of those podcasts following that show. I digged in a bunch of value boxes, and I picked up a lot of basketball because it'd be coming around this time and the season's about to get started. So like, did I buy Michael Jordan? Yep. Did I buy Curry? Yep. And did I buy some prospective players? Like I bought some Wemby. I bought some Kason Wallace, some Tari Eason. I bought some of those prospects too, because I know at this time the market should be trending upwards. But what I also did, and what's going to work out the best for me probably, was in the middle of the season, a lot of people think, oh, it's the height of baseball. It's this, that, or the other. I purposely bought Ohtani and Judge, which anyone can do and anyone can make money. I get that. But I didn't buy the Ohtani and Judge you would think to buy. I was in the value box. I bought an Allen and Ginter long ball lure. It's just a cool looking insert, and it gemmed, and I got it for like $1 or $2, and I bet it sells for like $50, and it's going to go on auction soon. I bought a 2022 Allen and Ginter chrome refractor for like $2-3. It sells all day for $50 to $60. This one you're going to get a kick of. I don't even know if you know about this card. In 2021 Topps, they had a set called Through the Years. The card is of a rookie card of Aaron Judge. So the card is like I'll pull it up here on my phone too. That's not an autograph. That's literally a picture of a rookie RPA of Aaron Judge. And I bought that card for like $10 in the last PSA. Ken, what do you think the last PSA 10 of that did?
And there's no patch on it. It's just a
No,
picture of the
it's
patch.
literally an insert card. It's
Just an
literally an
insert
insert.
card.
It's just a card.
So where
I
the
bought
last
it for
PSA
$10.
10 go?
Yeah.
I would say $65.
$336.
Just to get outside.
Yep. So like now that's an outlier, but like those are the sort of plays that you can make. And now Judge it's some would call it a toss-up between him and Cal Raleigh for the MVP. However, Judge by the books is favored to win the MVP. So I'm gonna have that card to send on auction right around now going into the playoffs. That's the timing that really can make the difference on things, in my opinion. Yeah. Right? So maybe you want to talk a little bit about your strategy to that too. For the
I mean, timing's a whole other thing on these cards. Not only determining, when to get the cards and try to be first to market, but then if you're going to buy cards to time the market, which I do, that's something I do every year, right? I'm buying football, early enough so I can grade it and it's coming back June, July, and August. If PSA does what they say and everything, happens like it should, I'm getting those cards back at the right time or, able to sell at the right time. But then in the summer into the fall, right, I'm buying stuff that I can sell in the winter and the spring. So I'm always cycling. And I know some people do that. And other people are like, you know what? As soon as I get things, I grade it, regardless of, what it is. I'm not looking ahead. And that's why now I think more than ever, in 2018, 19, 20, 21, I think there were cycles for the sports, right? So football, as soon as football's over, everybody pulls it out of their case. Nobody's selling it. Everybody was full of baseball. Now every sport is a 12-month sport. Is it not working?
No, your mic's good. It just is a little muffled. I think it might maybe give that a little test.
Oh. Is it working now?
Yeah, no, we're good now. Yeah, we're good now. I can hear that. Now I could hear it loud. It was a little muffled. It should have been clear enough, though. It should have been
okay. Fine. But now every sport is a 12-month sport. So it doesn't matter. You go to any show right now, and you're going to find basketball, baseball, soccer, football, and you're going to find that all year round because people aren't pulling. I mean, maybe the prices aren't what people want to pay during the off season, but you're still going to find those cards in cases at shows or online and on eBay and on any other online auction site. They're always going to be up. So with sports being 12 months a year, you can grade anytime.
Agreed. And what I like you said, it's 12 months a year. I think you also acknowledge there still is off-season pricing to an extent. Maybe not as drastic as there used to be, but there still is. What I love doing is like maybe coupling those two things of buying a nice raw card in the off-season, and then it like exponentially grows when you gem it. So you get the gem growth, and then the card naturally grows on top of it. So it's just like it's like a huge boom. Like, I mean, in a perfect world, that's how you time things, right? You buy a great card in the off season that's raw, you gem it once the season starts, and boom, But I think for me with grading cards, aside from making sure the condition is gem worthy, a big part of it is timing. I think that's what we're trying to get across here.
Yeah. For maximum return on there, first to market and getting them back when it's going to be at the height of the market, having the cards ready for sale at the height of the market.
And in the same respect, though, if a player's market maybe declines a bit, you still have if you get a PSA 10, you could almost have that protect you a little bit from the price. Say if it not tanks, but if the market decreases slightly, but you got it raw, that 10 you can still make money from too. Mm-hmm. Maybe not as much as you anticipated, but
yeah. And I do something you don't. I mean, you're moving your cards all the time. When you're getting your cards, you're moving your cards, right? I pull cards. I say, okay, this player got hurt. This now it's off season or whatever. I have no problem pulling certain cards out that I think that, their value is up here, and for whatever reason they've dipped down in price. I'm okay not selling them at that dip. I'm okay pulling those cards out, holding them back here, not bringing them to shows, not putting them online, that type of thing, and waiting for the cycle to come back again. If it's a Joe Burrow or a Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, something like that. Like, there's no reason for me to put it out there and sell it on a dip when you know that no matter what, it's going to come back up again. The value is going to come back up again, and I'm okay to hold.
I agree with that to an extent. I don't think a lot of cards are special enough to hold that for. Like, and I'll just explain why. Like, if me holding it for a year is gonna equal me making $100 instead of $20, I'm not waiting a year for $80. Like you know what I mean? Like, if it's like a huge card, sure, or I'll get creative with it. But like, I have, well, as you know, and what you're doing, I have a bunch of, not as much as you, but I have a bunch of women's basketball that I just have here in a box. Because it's not time yet. But I would say on average, or like that's fairly accurate. It's just like, I don't see, like, for example, I just had some Joe Burrows pop that are like Chronicles based PSA 10. I'm not holding that.
Yeah. No, and I don't see why not.
Why would I hold that?
But let me ask you a question, because you just brought this up and made me think of something. So you said you have a lot of women's basketball, and I think you're referring to college, because you're saying it's not ready yet. But when the season starts and when they are playing, or closer to March Madness, whatever you determine is the right time, your Michaela Blakes, your Sarah Strongs, all those, you're just selling. It's just sell time. Are you holding any of those? Say, hey, these are great cards. They're their first Bowman, and they're only going to be sophomores this year. The value could go up. Or you're like, you know what? It's that season. I'm going to sell them and rinse and repeat.
So, great question. I think I could do a little of both. Like, I could hold some, I could sell some, and kind of, but also with that being said, after the season's over, you could just do it again. And like honestly, you could just do it all over again.
Yeah.
So that's just playing that market. But like, it's also, this is kind of me trying something out that I don't normally do with, like, I don't like the idea of like prospecting to this extent in a niche sport. Like if I had, I used to do this all the time with soccer, and it worked out really well. But I like where I would just get a little like stash of a player, and then the market like blows up, and I just sell it all and don't look back and take my money. But like, I don't find that to be as like, you can make more money consistently than doing that, I think, in my opinion. Unless like you're hoarding like high end of like a big like, I don't know. Like, imagine if you were just able to get a bunch of Brock Purdy prior to him being the starter and then blowing up, or like you got Shea Gilgeous-Alexander before these last couple of years on OKC, and you actually, I had a NT RPA out of 25 of his that sold for $10,000 that I had moved for under $3,000. So that's why I don't like to go and look back at these cards too. But it's a little out of my comfort zone, and I think with something specifically like this college women's basketball, you can kind of tinker with it.
Yeah. And I say all the time, like with the professional sports, like for football, I'll sell all my rookie cards before the season starts. That is my goal, not to be holding any of those rookie cards before the NFL season starts. When it comes to the women's, basketball, any of the college stuff, even the men's college stuff. When it comes to that stuff, it's like you want to sell that during the season. You don't want to be selling that before, like right now. I see a lot of that stuff coming up, and I think people have that mindset like, oh, it's the time to sell it. And I could see the prices are starting to rise, but if they're rising now in September, come December or January, and some of those players, and I mean, I guess you have to know which players, right? And they're not all going to explode. So I mean, I guess too, if you just have, like, I have a whole box of men's basketball from the college basketball, that when that season starts, I'll be pulling that out at shows and just putting it out there. The autos, the numbers, the refractors, right? Everything that I've ripped last year, because we both know that Bowman U Chrome, that stuff came out a month before March Madness. So there was no window to sell that. The tournament was over even before you were able to try to get anything graded. So I have a lot of that stuff for the players that are still playing, that I'll be able to pull out this year during their season.
Yeah, and trying to bring it a little bit back to grading with that, honestly, is that specifically for prospecting products, whether it's that or baseball or football with the Bowman stuff, knowing when they're going to get called up or go to the professional level is really important, because like you had said, you have all that men's stuff in a lot of people, and probably including myself. I shot myself in the foot a little bit for this. I probably sold a bunch of that, like, just when I shouldn't have, just because lack of knowledge, and that's fun. I'm learning. It's not like I'm going to lose millions of dollars over it. It's lesson learned. But you're going to have these in a box that if a certain player starts performing and getting some notoriety for the draft, or even just in college, you have that opportunity now to take those cards that were just sitting there, and then you can grade them, or you can just sell them. But if you grade them, then you could just grow the money even more, from that. So, yeah, that's great, because
if we go
all the products, but the caveat with that is knowing some of the guys that are in the NBA draft this year, which are a lot of them, and a lot of the big names that drove the product.
Yeah.
Right.
And also not even the guys who were drafted, but knowing where people transferred to, who's playing at new schools. And that's kind of what I did. I deep dove back in August, tried to figure out which players that I was going to get graded. It may work out, it may not. I mean, the player could get hurt and not play at all. They may the transfer to the school. It may not work out, but I just went deep dove, and I just determined like 5 or 6 guys. I pulled their cards out of those boxes. I sent them for grading. I'm waiting for them to come back, and I'm hoping that, it was, the guesswork was right.
Can I take a guess on one of the men? Braden Smith?
Yeah, yep. Dame Sarr.
Then there's also, I forget his name. It's one of the kids on Duke who's back. Should be very good. But
I think most of the Duke kids, anything
that didn't get drafted, you're saying?
That didn't get drafted, yeah. Any of the autos, numbered cards, things like that. Yeah.
That and that's another thing too, is like within grading too, is like, and you see that in Bowman baseball prospecting. Some of the organizations that have a huge fan base will pay for those guys in a 10 because it's their collection. Like Duke has a massive following, men's basketball, massive. Yeah. So like a lot of guys will, they'll pay up and you're able to profit off of a slab from a Duke guy just because they're a Duke fan. Like that's absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So now that we know what cards we want to grade, and determining, when to send them for grading, if we're going down that path, now really determining, 2 things: prepping the cards and determining where we're going to send them to. And I think we have to prep the cards first to get a better idea of where we're sending those to.
Yeah.
That's in my case anyways.
Yeah, if you're on YouTube, I'm holding up, it's like just a microfiber cloth. At the bare minimum, need that, in my opinion. Bare minimum, just need some microfiber to wipe dust, fingerprints, all that, front and back. You can wipe it off, super safe. It'll give it a cleaner look, just even if there's nothing on it sometimes. Agreed? Like that's just bare minimum 101. Need the microprint.
100%. I notice, and I'll tell you more. I notice more with Panini cards than Topps cards, that the cards fresh out of the pack come with stuff on them that you just need to wipe off. And I'm not saying fingerprints, because if you're getting that card from somewhere else and you didn't pack pull it, there's generally no fingerprints on it. But or if you pack pull it, there shouldn't be, right? But if you're getting from somewhere else, there could be fingerprints. But I just noticed that there's just stuff, like I take those cards and I put them on, and I'm like, oh man, got to wipe this, wipe that underneath the microscope. And they seem to have a lot of schmutz on those cards fresh out of the packs.
Absolutely. And so I'll ask you, when they come fresh out of the pack like that, what's the next step?
Well, I have a big magnifying glass behind me over here that, I get the card underneath that magnifying glass. I wipe anything off that I see on there. Now I'm looking at edges and surface and corners and things like that to determine, is this card perfect? Is there issues? Is there print lines? Is there dimples? A lot of the centering I do just looking at the card, right? But I have this little centering tool that I got off, I think, Amazon or something, very inexpensive. But sometimes cards that come with these weird design on it, and it's not so easy to just determine whether the centering is 60-40 or 40-45-55, like that type of thing. So I'll use one of these if I need to determine the centering. And I've been doing this long enough that I know certain things, if I see in a card, that it's not going to gem at PSA. I mean, there's no guarantee. I've sent some cards to them that I said there's no way they're going to gem, and they do. And I've sent cards to them that I said there's a guarantee. There's no way this is not coming back at 10, and it comes back at 9. So, I'm not a professional grader by any means. I've just put my probably I don't know. I'm sure it's not 10,000 hours, but pretty close to 10,000 hours into looking at cards and preparing them for grading to know, basically what they're going to get for grading.
Yep. And for me, I'll say like that's way more than I do. That like just honestly, that is way more than I do. Like I literally sit at my desk. I just have a light overhead, and I literally just shine it off the light just to catch what I can catch. And I eyeball the centering. I feel like, and I think that's also though because like I have done it enough as well that like if there's a clear issue with centering, I will see that. Like I will see that, and I don't even know how many cards I've sent in, but I've sent in enough where the centering's like almost like just yes or no. And if it's a no, it's just immediately like no pile, and that's something I think that's really important when we're to mention this is people send in too many cards that they know have flaws, but still expect some other result, which is kind of insanity. Like you know what I mean, though?
Yeah, but I know people who never even look at their cards. They put them in a card saver and just send them off for grading. They don't even do as much as you just said underneath the light or anything. They say, oh yeah, it looks pretty centered, and that's it. The corners look good or whatever. They don't see anything, with the naked eye, and they just send it in. And I know when we had Josh on, he said, PSA will wipe the cards down. Whether that's true or not, I would have to think for some people who never even look at the card and send them in and get 10s. I mean, they must do some type of wiping on the card, or because I know almost every card I look at, there's something on there that needs to be wiped off.
Yeah, minimal. Yeah, something minimal that just buff it off, and it's not a big deal. I know I really said that nonchalantly, but like when I do that, it's like a multi-point inspection that I'm looking at the card. So maybe I should talk a little bit more about that than but like when I'm looking at it, something I really try to focus on is surface. That's like the one thing I try to focus on the most, because to me, any surface ding, scratch, light scratch, dimple in the back, there are varying severities to them that can affect the grade in different ways. There are some lines, or you may perceive them to be scratches, that won't affect the grade. So I really like, as I'm go I mean, I probably like, I'm looking at each card for like, I don't know, 30 seconds to a minute, like through the light, like I'm using the light as the reflection to try to see any like raised or lowered levels on the card, right? Because for me, I think understanding that the corners and the centering and the edges, they are what they are, and I feel like they're fairly easily identifiable. Like for edges, you may see chipping, like that's going to be an edge thing. For corners, you're clearly going to see a corner issue. It's either a creased corner or a bent corner, like it's just evident. The surface, I think, may be the hardest to determine, in my opinion. What do you think about that? I feel like surface, for me at least, is the one I focus the most on, because I think it's the most important.
I do, and here's the thing that I've discovered about the surface. So as much as the surface to me, and I'm looking for dents and dimples and
Yep.
Nail marks and things like that. Some of the cards that I've sent in that have like a dimple and things like that, where I said, oh, I see that dimple, it's never going to gem, but it's a card that in a 9, it still has a lot of value. So I've sent it in, and then it comes back a 10.
Yep.
And which has made me say, okay, so there's certain things that they overlook on these cards. Not overlook like they say, oh, geez, they missed it, but they say that's okay. Like,
Sure.
And what it is about certain dimples on a card versus another card. Maybe there was dimples on all those cards, and they say, okay, we're going to,
absolutely,
we're going to say we're not going to, take away from this card because of a dimple, where other cards have been perfect and now there's a dimple. So sometimes when I see a dimple, I'll go online and I'll try to compare, look at other 10s and see if I see a dimple. And sometimes I'll just send it and say, hey, maybe it'll come back at 10. And a lot of times it doesn't. I don't want to say, I'm usually surprised when it comes back. When they do come back at 9, I'll be like, well, it did have a dimple in it. And then I'll be selling it at a show, and somebody will be like, oh, that's a nice card. And then they got their phone and the light out. I'll be like, well, there's a dimple there. I mean, I think that's probably why it got the 9, but.
Yeah, I think that's also part of like what's really good as like people, if they're interested in grading more, is when you're learning, sending those in to understand what can and can't pass. And something that you also said that's really important too is like, guys, not everything has to be a 10 for it to make sense to grade. If you send something in and it's a 9 and it's profitable, why wouldn't you send it in?
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get a 10. Well, that doesn't make sense to me. So I agree. I think
especially first to market cards. Even 9s have a lot of value to them.
Absolutely. Like every single time you have like those PSA 9 Prism cards that like the retail parallels, they'll be profitable at the very beginning. Absolutely. Like the red, orange ices, all the green, like all they will be profitable at the beginning.
Yep.
And then, so I know some feel it's a controversial topic, but I feel like at this point it's nearly industry standard, like people using like Kurt's Card Care or other substances to clean the cards. I don't personally have a problem with it. I don't know about you. I really don't.
I mean, I've talked about it all the time. I use the sprays. I don't use any of the other stuff. I don't use the waxes or I wouldn't even have a card that I would soak or anything like that.
That's just, I would be terrified.
Yeah. So, and the people put them in humidors and things like that. I'll use the spray, right? The surface spray I'll wet my cloth and I'll wipe it down with that. beyond that, if there's things on there, I'll either determine if it's going to go somewhere else for grading, or I'm just not going to grade it.
Yep.
I'll just sell it raw and let somebody else take a crack at it, because there's a lot of work that goes into that. And I can tell you honestly, I know myself, and I'm not a patient person. I was just talking to somebody else that said, "Oh, I was able to get these print lines out." And I said, "Really?" I said, "How much work was that?" And they said, "Well, it took like 12 or 15 treatments." Like after two, I'm like, "Yeah, this card is not going to have, to me, after wiping that card down, if it's not coming out, like I'm fine saying it's okay, because I don't want to get into it, because one of the downfalls that I think is, if I try to do too much to a card and I damage it
Yeah.
more, now the value is nothing. And that's what I'm more worried about. So I'd rather wipe the card down, and then look at it again. And if it looks like it's not going to gem, or it looks like the grading that it will come back is not going to be beneficial for me to grade it, I have no problem putting it in one touch and put it in the thing, and then tell people, they'll pick it up and they'll look at it, and if they ask questions, why didn't you grade this, or where did this come from? Did you pack full? Like, people want to know. Like, I'll be honest. I'll say, hey, look, I know there's a print line right there. You can get a print line out if you know how to do that. Then this card may gem, but I'm not doing that. And like, people sometimes think, like, when I say things like that I'm full of crap, like I'm lying, or I'm giving. But it's the absolute truth. It's happened to me before. I tried to put work in on a card that was very valuable, and I did damage to the card trying to fix it. Then the card became worthless, right? Or it just became a PC card because I couldn't sell that card that way. After that, I'm like, you know what? I know what my limitations are. I'll do it. I'll do the basic of wiping it down and preparing it. But if it needs work beyond that, I'll pass that off for somebody else to do.
Yeah, and I don't know. I guess I'm someone who I guess I think, like, I don't think it's like as big of a deal as everyone makes it out to be. I don't really know how to word it. I don't even.
No matter how you say it, there's people who are going to say, "Oh, you're trimming cards or whatever," but you're not. I mean,
yeah, no, it's not that. I like that's and that's totally different to me, because I feel like that's taking that's like altering it. Like,
yeah,
where
even people get very upset when you tell them that you clean a card. That you wipe a card down and you use something to wipe it down. People get so upset. Oh, that's not what you should be doing. But you know what? I think anybody who sends cards in for grading wipes their cards down.
At the very least,
they'd be foolish if they didn't.
Yeah, and also too, it's like the main counterpoint I've heard, and I do like, is like, what if I pull a huge card and it came with like some gunk on it from like Panini, like you're talking about? Shouldn't I be able to at least like give my fair shot to get it off? Like that, I've heard that argument, and I agree. I agree with that. Like, it's not like, I don't know, especially if like you're using the card spray and you're removing like some, I don't even know what it is. Like, gunk is the best way I could put it, because you know what I'm talking about. It's probably like some glue or whatever from the printing process, and it's just removing it. And it's not like altering the actual card. It's literally a substance above the surface that's attached by the adhesive as whatever it is. And you're just detaching it with the spray, right? Like, what's wrong with that? I don't get that. So it's like, oh yeah, like some sloppy printer at Panini. This is the cards I've been dealt. That's it. You know, like I don't know. It's not. I don't buy that as like, okay. I think like not being able to at least like fix like manufacturing printing mistakes is, I think that's annoying.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to tell you, timing is everything, right? Because as we're sitting here talking, I just got
a PSA order.
Well, somebody else did. So one thing I did, and I'm always trying to test different things out, and I'm so happy it happened while we were recording. So Rich Zwittlebug Cards was sending an order in, and he said he wanted to test out, instead of sending it at a bulk, send it at a regular level to see if the cards would grade any different. So I had 3 cards in the office that I was considering send to PSA, and I looked at them and I felt like they were all going to get 9s. None of them would gem. So I said, I'll jump on that train with you if you don't mind. I'll send you 3 cards that I don't think will gem, but we'll see at the regular order price if they would gem. Now, I'm just basing that on what I see, right? So I just got a message from Rich, right?
I saw something's a 10.
Says 2 out of 3 ain't bad, right? So they were all Bowman Chrome U. There's 2 X Fractors. There's a Michaela Blake's that came out of 10. And there was the Sarah Strong Social Studies that came out of 10. And I had a Sarah Strong Refractor that came back at 9.
And wait, and you sent that regular?
Yeah, I
like
sent
$75?
No, I don't know, $30, $29. No, it's still like 45 days or something, but it was
the better bulk version.
Yeah, it was a non-bulk order.
Okay.
So,
well, hey, there you go.
Yeah. So,
or maybe, do you remember? I got a question. What were like some of the issues with those? Do you remember what issues specifically that you
saw? So both X Fractors that gemmed, there were print lines in them.
What kind of print lines?
Both of them had noticeable print lines in the X Fractors.
So that's something I would say, because I grade a lot of the X Fractors, like baseball too, and even the like X Fractors are one of those designs, in my opinion, that they have these people perceive them as print lines, but they don't affect it.
Yeah.
Like that's why I asked.
Yeah. And the refractor that got the 9, I'll have to go back and look. I don't remember what was on there that I saw I was thinking that.
Cool.
But
that's a win.
Yeah. That's a total win right there. Yeah.
That's awesome. Anything else on prep? Oh, you know what? Something I'll say that I'll plug that I personally use, and you don't have to by any means. I don't know exactly what they're called, but I have specific what do you call them? Penny sleeves that I send all of my graded cards in, and I don't care what anyone says about them. They're actually these, like, if you can kind of see, it's a penny sleeve with a pull tab up top.
Oh yeah.
And I only use those. So like, I'm not going to demonstrate. This is a podcast.
Where did you buy those?
I like Amazon. I don't see, like, I didn't expect to like say that. I don't know if I even have the wrapper of it. It's like the hobby something on Amazon, but they're really good. And for me, I personally feel like when I'm putting these into the card savers, like, because I've tested them, like when I take them out of the card savers, they come out like butter, but like they're stable unless you're trying to take them out. But for me, it just is one less step for someone to try to reach in there and pull it out by hand. So they're pulling the card out, in the sleeve. It's one less possibility of damage. And I only use those when I submit. I put those in a card saver 1. That's it. I don't use any other sleeves for that. Maybe a small detail. I don't know if you use anything like that, or if you used them before or seen them before.
I used to put pull tabs on them, like just stick them to them,
Post-its. Yeah.
But and pull them out.
No, they actually designed a penny sleeve with the pull tab.
Yeah, so I just went on Amazon. Yeah, tabbed sleeves for grading submission. Yeah, I see them.
I love them. I would recommend trying them, give them a shot, see what you think. I only use them now.
Okay. I'm going to buy some, and I'll just use them for my grading submissions.
Yep.
See, and I always say, when there's a need, people will come up with something.
Yeah, right.
Because as I know, PSA said you don't send that stuff in anymore.
Don't do that, because I used to do that too, because I thought it was helpful. And if you think about it, think about how many pull tabs they had all over the office, like the little Post-its of them. And so now it's a penny sleeve, and it's easy.
Yeah.
So
I used to send some sealed candies and stuff in there too.
Slip 100.
Yeah, they
put $100 bill in the in a card saver, and they're like, and then for you on it. It's like, what is this?
Yeah. All right. So
think
moving right along.
Well, I'm sorry. What was that?
I said, so moving right along.
Yeah.
You know, now that we're the cards are prepped and they're ready to send. Now we have to determine what level and price point to grade them at. You know, and a defined return date.
Well, your breaking news kind of just blew that whole up. Your breaking news, you would have sent those bulk, and you sent them bulk. You sent them bulk value, right? Is that there's like one step above like bulk. It's what?
Yeah, I could tell you exactly.
It's value plus. It's value plus.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. So you sent them value plus. I sent some downtowns value plus, and they all gemmed. I don't think. I mean.
There's breaking news.
Yeah.
You want 10s. That's going to be the thing. You want every card to be a PSA 10?
Value plus. Yeah.
Watch this video.
What I would say with value plus is if it's like a card that you want to grade, it's got to be over a certain amount, right? But under the $4.99 value, or like you can risk it, right? Actually, maybe I'm talking too much. For bulk, it has to be $4.99 declared value or less.
Yep.
I send cards that I don't need right back that are going to be more than that all the time, and I rarely get upcharged. Okay, like that happens. I just declare them as less value.
Yeah, and I think that's okay. I do that too. But if the card is like, 700 or better, then I think, and there's no sales that are under 500 on that card, then I'll send it. And sometimes at that level, I want the card back quicker, and I know if I'm sending it at a higher level, I'm going to get a more seasoned grader.
Yeah.
Right, that's going to be grading this card, and I think with a more seasoned grader, you have a better shot at gemming, some of these cards where people would think, oh, they're going to grade it harder. I think a seasoned grader may give you a more beneficial grade than sending it in bulk and having a less seasoned grader looking at them.
They definitely could. What I would say, too, in regards to using that value plus service level you're talking about, I think it is a very valuable and probably underused level for a lot of people. Yeah. I've used it a lot of times when it's a card that I need back in a month. More so than like if I'm confident it will gem and I need it back in a month, that's what I'm going to send it to.
Yeah.
Trying to use that as an example right now, that's tough because it's late September. So maybe if you had like a not crazy valuable Ohtani or Judge that you wanted back for hopefully the end of the playoff run or for MVP awards, maybe you send that, even if it's one of their rookie cards that will sell for like, $300 is then you're putting 30. So it's like a 10% investment on the card plus your card cost. Say you're into one of those for like $50 raw, and then you do the 30 and it's 80 and you gem it and it's worth 300, but you need it back because then the off season comes around and even if it's if it's not a rare Ohtani or Judge, it may slip a little bit. That's something I might consider using that for. But there's other instances of that. That's just one off the top of my head.
Yeah, and just to jump back and not to get off topic here, but that was sent at value. So there's value bulk and then there's value, which is up to $500 in a 45 business day, and then there's the value plus, which is 25 business. So
you just didn't use the bulk part of it.
Yeah, these cards were sent at the value. They were not the collector's club. They were the value.
Okay. Let me see something. I had, I know we had talked about, I had sent some cards to Beckett, and I had them pop last night. 2 of them were 9s, and 1 was a 9.5. But I think the 2 that were 9s, I don't think they would have 9'd at PSA, honestly.
Yeah.
And the 9.5 was actually one of these good timings. The Josh Allen, the Color Blast, that got a 9.5, and trying to look it up. I don't know how to use their here we go. I want to, I haven't looked up the subgrades yet, so I will let you know. And interesting enough, the only non 9.5 grade was for the edges on that card, not the surface that I thought the issue would have been.
Okay.
So, and it is a pop 3 with none higher.
I'm always surprised with BGS when I see their card grades that come back. I look at cards and I'm thinking, oh, the surface or this dimple or maybe a corner, and then I'll send it in. And what I think is wrong, it'll come back from BGS. It'll be like a 9.5 there and like a 9 on something else where I'm like, that was perfect. How'd that get a 9?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's just funny how
Yep.
what they look at and how it comes back. And I'm always surprised. I am always surprised when the cards come back from BGS and I get to see all 4 levels. And I know people have been saying this forever. I wish PSA would do it because it would help me so much sending cards to them, that if I knew, what they looked at, how they graded all 4, and then let me examine the card, and then I'm able to know, like, moving forward, how to judge it.
Yeah, and I think it's also it's a learning game too, but about where you're going to send like certain things for certain maybe concerns you see on the card. Because I think at the end of the day, regardless of how we feel about anything, it's still undisputed that if you think the card is going to get a 10, you're going to send it to PSA. Because granted, there could be higher upside with a BGS black label. However, it's not. I almost see that as not attainable. Like, I know it is. I know it technically is, but I see BGS 10s as not attainable. Like, at least on a consistent, reliable basis. Like, so that's why I think it'll get a 10. I'll go to PSA. But this is another instance of where I send the card to Beckett, and that's a great result for a card that was not going to get a PSA 10, right?
Yeah.
And the other 2 are the BGS 9s are the Travis Kelce rookie silver select autos. So, like, those are fine too. And I will, rather than give up on cards and just sell them raw through a consigner, like, I'm going to start taking more shots with Beckett. It's been successful for me. I know you feel the same way.
Yeah. And I think too, and a lot of stuff that PSA is doing, I think a lot of other people are feeling the same way too. And I think, this may be, and who knows, but it could be the beginning of somewhat of a revival for BGS.
Yeah.
If they could harness this and make some good moves in the industry.
I would really like you to highlight, because it's after the fact now, I really would like you to highlight an instance that would have affected a ton of people with what we just talked about, PSA versus BGS, with the Caitlin Clark Silver Prism rookie card. I want you to explain to people how drastic some of these prices can be. Yeah. Because I feel like you need something like that. It needs to be put in people's faces so they can understand, okay, this is a feasible option.
Yeah. So I'm going to say what I saw at the National, because the light bulb went off, because I know everybody. I've been sending so many of those silver prisms in trying to get a 10, and they've been coming back 9s and 8s. And somebody at the National at trade night came up with a 9.5, and I thought to myself, well, I know that the silver prism was selling at around 3,000 at the time, or
and let's just reiterate, this was around the National time. It could have changed now, but this instant.
Yeah.
I just want to, because you're going to get people, oh, it's not that. So.
And they showed up at a 9.5. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm interested. Let me see that. And all of a sudden I look up, it's like $1,400. Now the PSA 9 was selling for like $450, right? And now the BGS 9.5 was $1,400. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Maybe I should be sending these silvers to BGS instead of, if I could get back a couple 9.5s that are in the, above $1,000 on those prices, that may be a whole lot better than, taking the chance at PSA and getting 9s back from them that are only worth the 450 or 500 when the raws were selling not much less than that. We're selling right around that same price too. So the 9.5 was really giving a bump up on that card.
Like $1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like $1,000. So, I mean, people literally could have just went out buying 9s, and you hit 1 or 2 of those. And
yeah. I'm just gonna look quick.
See what it's currently doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, the reason, like when I sent that Josh Allen out, I think I saw a PSA, and it was a while ago. So it was like a PSA 9 did like $600, where I was doing like $550-ish, and then a BGS 9.5 did like $850 or something. So I took the shot on it because I saw some like a minor surface issue that I know PSA would ding, and sure enough, it worked out that way. So it was the similar process like what you had discussed with the Clark, except smaller numbers overall. But enough for me to take that chance with Beckett, right?
Yeah. So I'm just going to give you some prices.
Okay.
September 3rd, 1675.
9.5.
What's that? BGS 9.5.
Wow.
September 9th, 1500. September 10th, 1375. September 10th, 870. September 23rd, 808.
And that's to be expected with her going out, and it's not a rare card.
Yeah, and it's shooting. All those are in the shooting pose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's great prices compared to
what's the 9? So let's say it floored out in the 800s, and what's the 9? Because before the 9 was around like 450, right?
Yeah, so PSA 9. I'm going to start in September 21st, 193, 280, 260, 305, 260, 300, 300. So they're all around
clear
300.
difference. Clear difference.
So there's a $500 difference for a 9.5 right now in September when she's declared out for the season. A $500 difference. So, BGS could improve that card by $500 if it's a sell. If you're grading it to sell it.
Yeah, and for the most part, you're going to get it back quicker than like PSA bulk. Yeah. So Ken, that like when you told me that was big eye opener for me. Like I don't think I would have considered using Beckett as frequently as I have now if you kind of didn't at least ignite like curiosity into that, and I started looking into it more and more, and I was like, everyone's sleeping on this.
Yeah,
it really.
And I noticed too that PSA is grading all the Caitlin Clark cards in those cases that you are not easy to crack out of. So they are because all those Caitlin Clark cards that I've sent in for grading, and I'll send Caitlin Clark and football cards in.
Yep.
The football cards have all come back in that really easy to crack open.
Yeah.
And all the other cards, but all the Caitlin Clarks are coming back in that super hard to open up.
Actually, to circle back with this big order I had that I discussed about the judges early, I had a bunch of Clarks in there that I graded and gemmed, but clearly the sales are not going to be what I had expected previously, but I'll still do fine.
So that's an interesting point that I talked about earlier on those Clarks. So I've taken every Clark that I have that's gem, that's a 10, and I put it away. Like those aren't even coming out till next year. I am not going to be. So you on the other hand,
these are Panini Instant cards though.
What's that?
The Panini Instant, they're not special. Like,
oh, okay, all right.
If I had anything numbered right now, I'd probably stash it.
Say it. You'll hold it.
I'd stash it for a minute if I had anything numbered that was worth stashing. But like I don't care about that. You know what I mean? Like I'm not holding off for these instant cards to make a miraculous bounce back because I don't think they should have a miraculous bounce back.
No, the ones I'm holding are all Prism.
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah. So good. Anything else you want to add? I think we covered everything on that.
Yeah. I think that was our deep dive in grading. Yep.
That was our deep dive. So a couple of things to mention. We talked about it last time. We're going to keep mentioning it. The Mohegan Sun Trade Night we're hosting. That's November 22nd and 23rd. And the big show in Bristol, which is that weekend after November 29th, we are going to be recording live from there. We'll be set up at that show again, and we'll be recording live from that show as well. So we have a couple exciting things coming up so far.
Yeah. And then I will give a quick whatnot update. Through 3 shows, I'm at 506 transactions on the road to 1,000. So that's honestly, I just thank you all.
And you fixed the shipping.
The shipping is fixed. Yeah. Yep. From that first show, it's been fixed since then. I've been using the first class mail, like an envelope, for $2, $3 card that gets put in there, and then it gets shipped that way. And this last show went so well with the throwback, like the 90s and 2000s stars, like only basketball players. And I didn't even sell any Michael Jordan, really. I have a huge stack of Michael Jordan, so I'm literally just going to run back that show again October 1st, 6 p.m. next Wednesday. When this comes out, right? Is this coming out Wednesday?
Wednesday. Yeah. Drop it Wednesday. Yeah.
So this will come out this will come out Wednesday. I'll have the show Wednesday. So
yeah. So say, my show is tonight.
Yeah, my show's tonight. Come pop in and say, hey, throwback basketball. So yeah, it's been great, but just gonna continue on, and I'll keep people updated with how that process is going. Because I was thinking about this too, Ken. It's kind of interesting because I am inadvertently documenting the process of growing a whatnot channel that until not too long ago I hadn't really thought of, like that was going to be a lane for me.
Yeah.
But I love it, and it's it's been so much fun. It really has. The people who've come into the shows have been awesome and had some good banter. It seems like a decent community, so I really no complaints about it.
Good. All right, kid. Another great show in the books. Like we said, next week it'll be recorded, and it will probably drop Wednesday. But just keep your eyes open for that.
Cool.
Anything else before we close?
Nope. Stay tuned for whatever guests we have coming on in the next few weeks.
I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank everyone for listening. Please please subscribe. And like I said, we'll be back next week with a brand new episode.
Yep. See y'all on Whatnot.
Yeah. And now I'm going to say, see you next Wednesday.
See you next Wednesday on Whatnot.